Hello, everyone. Welcome into Yelling from the Couch. I'm Brent Humphreys. He's Gage Berdovich, and this is the Week 13 NFL Pick'ems. Also, around here, it's called Steelers Week. Gage, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I can't wait for Bengals week. We're bringing the energy for this one. It's exciting. I can't wait to just come out and by the end of this week, Mike Tomlin will have another winning season under his belt. So it's fine.
Ooh, wow. We're already throwing out the haymakers already, just starting it off just like this. We just introduced everybody here, Gage, and you're already pulling no punches. Man.
Hey, got to do what you got to do, right? Got to keep the confidence up even when it's all the way down to the floor.
It is. Pittsburgh last week coming off of a loss in the snowy game. Gage, we did a overreaction after the game with Joey, and man, you were not not in the best of shape after that game. Have you recovered since last week? Famous Jameis and the guys, and praising the Lord that it snowed so he can finally play in it and all that stuff.
I've recovered from the overreaction, thankfully. I can't be mad at that game. Couple reasons. One, trap game, used to it. There's been games in the past. The Patriots, I believe it was last year we lost to them. The Cardinals the year before, or vice versa. I forget which one. There was one a couple years ago where like the 2-win Raiders came in and beat Pittsburgh because Chris Boswell slipped and fell on the I think they were in Oakland at the time, or Vegas, whichever one, slipped on their field. It's, you know what? It's expected. Not going to let it damper me. We got great quarterback play, even after a loss. And with all that, I can't be mad at famous Jameis. He's one of those people on my list that it's like, you know what? I don't care what team this guy's going to play for. I'm going to like him. You can't hate Winston. Nothing bad has ever come out about him. He's, you know what? I'm going to chuck that thing. He could throw it 100 times a game if you asked him to. Now, he might throw 10 or 15 interceptions in that time, but he would throw it 100 times a game, no questions asked. So you know what? I'm in a better mood. I'm just ready to go against a wet paper sack of a defense.
So yeah, famous Jameis, last week, and like you said, how can you not like the guy? I mean, the pre-interview that he had about the snow and the look on his face where you could tell he was just like, oh man, what a great day it is to be here. Like he just enjoys it. Like he's himself out there, and it's good to see. And that game, like you said, trap game, Cleveland, in the snow, like. How does these two teams muster up 3 points before it starts snowing? Then the snow starts falling, and all of a sudden, we've got a shootout going on in Cleveland.
It was like Russell Wilson played better in the snow. I'm like, you're throwing in the middle of the field in horrible conditions? This isn't you. Nope. I don't know who this is. This isn't Steeler play calling. This isn't Russell Wilson. I don't know what happened, but I don't know if I want it back.
Yeah, it was a weird game for sure, we talked about Pittsburgh there, and the Bengals last week. They had a bye week. Yes, I've seen all the memes. People, you're funny, you're hilarious. The Bengals lost a heartbreaker in the bye week, 35-34. Burrow threw for 405 touchdowns, no picks. Yeah, I seen all that. Yeah, hilarious. Great. Yeah, I saw it. So, yeah, Bengals coming off a bye week. Yeah.
Do you know how the Bengals have fared in the past after the bye week? Like, is it usually good or usually bad?
So, I'm not really sure on how they've done it after a bye week. I know for a fact Kentucky football, when they come off a bye week, they absolutely get destroyed. But I feel like the Bengals are better off the bye week, but not as good. I know when they have plenty of rest after the offseason, they absolutely suck. But, coming off a bye week, I don't know. That's an interesting one. I should have looked that one up, actually, just to see what they are, especially off with Zach Taylor. I feel like it's different with him at the helm coming off of a bye week as it has with, Marvin Lewis, per se. But, I don't know. But they've got to – you find it?
Yeah. But you know what? This game, there is a lot at stake. Like the Ravens just won here on, I was it Monday night, I believe it was. And this division's still up for grabs, except for Cleveland. I'm pretty sure we can just count them as done. But between Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and even Cincy, I know Cincy doesn't have the best record or the record you would have wanted from them by this point in the season, but they're still right into it, which is crazy. I mean, you're sitting at 4-7, and Steelers are first 8-3, Ravens are 8-4. If you have a lot of things go your way, you go on a hot winning streak, maybe Pittsburgh and Baltimore loses a few games here or there, you could find yourselves in the wild card.
Oh, yeah, there's still a spot. I mean, obviously, you've got to basically win out.
Mm-hmm.
If you win out, you get to 10 wins. You may be able to drop one of the final 6 and still sneak into the playoffs, but you can't mess around anymore. They've started off slow every year, and it's like, okay, that's fine. Well, this year they've never got out of that funk. They have continued the slow, and it's like at some point you've got to be like, okay, the head coach has got to have you prepared. You have the talent. You've got the talent on defense as well. I mean, you've got some talented players on that side of the ball, and they still can't stop anybody. But at some point, it's got to fall back on the head man. He's got to come out. He's got to, get his guys prepared. He's got to make sure his coordinators are getting his guys prepared. Change some schemes up or something. Do whatever you've got to do. It's not working what you're doing now. You've got to make some sort of adjustments in season. You can't wait to the off season. You can't expect to put Joe Burrow in these situations where he's going to bail you out every time, because he could score a bunch of points. You can have a lot of yards, like Jamar Chase, 264 yards receiving, 3 touchdowns, and you still lose the ball game. I mean, at some point, he's got to have some help, and it starts at the top.
I absolutely agree. As a team that's sitting at 8-3, I hold the same sentiment for us, because there's been a lot of, especially opening first 2 drives of the game, offensive wise for the Steelers. It's like, what's coming. If Russ goes under center, it is either going to be a hand up the middle, or it's going to be a play action rollout to Darnell Washington, because it seems like they do that play on the first drive every single week. I guarantee you, the Bengals game this week, within the first 3 plays, it's going to be Russ under center, play action, rollout, either his left or his right, dumps it off to Washington for 5 or 6 yards. I'm not arguing because it works, but I'm arguing because you don't do it more often. You don't do it when you should. If it's 4th and 1 or 4th and 2 and you go under center, I'm already telling you they're running it, because they won't do anything else. So why not do it then? It's one of those things, like you said, having your guys prepared. There's a lot of that doesn't seem to happen most weeks. Like, there's no reason Pittsburgh should have lost to Cleveland last week. There's no reason Pittsburgh should have lost to New England last year, or Arizona the year before, or Raiders the year before. Besides for you going into that game as Mike Tomlin, as Arthur Smith, Terrell Austin, and everybody that is a player on the team thinking, easy, we got this. Their record, they're bad. We got this. It's fine. When in reality, no, it's not. And I saw on the practice report last week for the Steelers. Now, I know it was a short week. You had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I think it was 3 or 4 people didn't practice at all during that week because it was non-injury related resting vet. Well, even people like Cam Hayward or Larry Ogunjobi, you still got to give them at least a day of practice just to get them in there and going. And I don't get when they do that.
Yeah, that's the same thing like with the preseason. You've got to have your guys at least play a little bit of preseason just to get them ready for that season. And like Bengals have, since Burrow's been there, he hadn't played a preseason game until this year. Mm-hmm. And still they let him play 1 drive of the first preseason game. You got to get him more time than that out there. You just got to get him used to it. Got to get him in the flow of things. Like you said, you got to have him at least practice once a week in order to play. I mean, you still have to get him out there and get him prepared and get him used to, everything going on. The next team they're playing for or playing against. The scout team, got to get them all learning all. I mean, they may have seen this team before, but hey, it's different. You still have to prepare. And to prepare is to get out there and practice, hit the practice field.
Yeah, and
at least for a day.
And you mentioned about the scout team. I don't care who's on the scout team. I don't care if the quarterback that was your starter that you just demoted down the 4-string quarterback that you were having playing scout safety. You still got to be out there practicing. You still got to be out there with your guys. You may sign with a different team. You may get cut. I don't really know. But you still got to be able to go out there, get hit, apply some hits, get in the pass catching rhythm with your quarterback or your receivers or whoever. It's just very frustrating. And it's been like that for years, at least for us, where it's like, yeah, we have a good record, but it could be better if they were prepared for these 2 games.
And you just mentioned if your starting quarterback is playing scout team safety, since the last time we've recorded, the New York Giants have cut Daniel Jones, number 6 pick in the 2019 draft, I believe it was.
I think so.
Man, wow. Like, they had him to pay or Saquon, and they went with him.
I think they made the right
fire an owner.
I think they made the right decision. Well, it's great. Since the last time we recorded, not only did they cut Daniel Jones, but they will be on to their 3rd starting quarterback of the season this week. I mean, yeah, DeVito didn't do good, and he's hurt, and now you got Drew Lock in. I think Drew Lock should have been the guy anyways after Daniel Jones. I don't know. I mean, DeVito's got swag to him,
that's why he wanted the job, I believe.
I think so, because I mean, Italian mafia going on out here, and let me tell you, they got killed. Baker Mayfield pulled out his own Italian hand signals as a celebration and pulled a mafia hit against all the Giants.
Yeah, that was ugly, and I don't think it's going to get any better imagine being just a team of New York football anyway, or a fan of a New York football team. You've got the Giants, they're not doing so well. Let's see what the Jets. Oh boy, let's go just find Buffalo. Hey, they're down the road. Let's go to them. It's ugly up there in Jersey.
Yeah. I know it's a different state, but you know what? It's close enough, right? Be fans of them, maybe, as they're taking off the green jersey or taking off the blue and red one. Oh, God.
Yeah, it's a mess up there for those 2 teams, and it's just make one bad decision and it could just ruin the franchise for years to come. And I think both of those may be looking at that right now with the decision to keep a quarterback and the decision to bring in a quarterback is probably going to make these franchises put them behind for a few years, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, not like that, especially the Giants. Not like they were really ahead anyways, but they just got set back even more.
They got a really good wide receiver in Neighbors, but, man, the rest of it, it's a dumpster fire.
And I don't really know what they should do. Do they take a quarterback this draft, or do they sign someone, maybe a Justin Fields, in the offseason and wait until the 26th draft? I don't know. I think either way, it's just so bad, and you're wasting years off your guys like Neighbors, like Lawrence, and other people like that.
Yeah, and there's not a whole lot of big-time quarterback prospects coming in. I think maybe Shedeur Sanders is probably the top quarterback coming in, and I don't know if you would draft him. Maybe they draft him and Dion comes and coaches. I don't know if I wouldn't want that if I was a franchise.
No, I don't know how much that would really help them more or less than hurt them as a team.
Yeah, I don't think that would help a whole lot at all to have the Sanders package. So I think maybe you would. I don't know what you would go with this year, but you would be wasting Neighbors if you didn't draft a quarterback this year, I think.
Yeah. Or, like I said, sign someone in free agency.
Yeah.
Maybe you give your friend the Jets a call and be like, hey, can we have Rodgers?
The analytics say, "Hey, can we have Tyrod back?"
Yeah.
You know?
They just give him a call. Hey, we're looking for a quarterback. You have one on your roster that we'd really like. We would really love for him to work with our guys. We think he would, or they would learn a lot from him. Can we have Tyrod back?
Yeah.
And then Brian Dable just goes, click. And it's like, nope.
You know, I think what it would be is they could sign Flacco. I'm sure he's going to be a free agent after this year. You know, it's worked before for Cleveland.
Or maybe they trade for Deshaun. Maybe they eat a big portion of his contract and then just send Cleveland back even, further into the past.
So if they went and got Deshaun, you talk about going from worse to just horrible of a franchise. If the Giants made that move, like, you know what? We made a bad decision about Saquon. Let's make an even worse one. Let's go get Deshaun Watson to quarterback our team.
Or maybe they're like, you know what? There's an AFC North quarterback we really want. Let's give the Bengals a call and let's trade for Joe Burrow.
No, I mean, Jake Browning and his girlfriend and all that, they're available. I mean, we'll send him off. We'll take that.
You wouldn't want the haul for Joe Burrow. Like, you could get a few first-round picks for him.
Yeah, maybe. But, and, if you got it this year, you're getting a pretty high pick for the Giants.
Yeah.
So maybe Shadur comes back and Dion, he used to play for the Reds. Maybe he comes back, coaches the Bengals, and we get that package in Cincinnati.
Would you want that?
No, absolutely not.
Exactly my point.
Oh, well, with that, last week in our picks was not good. I'll just go ahead and say that. Gage, you went 8-5 last week. Yeah, okay, you're a winning record. I went 7-6. Baltimore saved me from going to a losing record last week.
And to think I almost took the Chargers over Baltimore.
Yeah. So my overall record is 102-69, and you were 109-62.
Ooh, you're catching up quite a bit.
Catching up. Well, I took a step back this past week. I was listening to some of the picks I put, and I was like, man, it's not what I expected at all. The Cowboys, like, what are we doing here?
And then I'll be interested for this week to see who our, underdog picks are.
There's a couple where it could be. I think I'm going to actually pick one on Thanksgiving night. We'll see here. Oh, I just gave it away. Thanksgiving slate. I think I may go with an underdog. We'll see.
I forgot there were 3 games. I thought they were
get in
tomorrow. So.
Oh yeah, there's 3 games. And then we got a Black Friday game too.
A lot of football in the next 2 days. We like that.
This is one of the better weeks of the year for football right here is starting tomorrow. Absolutely. And so we will start tomorrow, 12:30. The Chicago Bears travel to Detroit to face the Detroit Lions. Detroit is a 9.5-point favorite. Detroit has been crushing teams. Bears, not so much. Gage, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, not much to say. Detroit's been just steamrolling everybody. You can almost count on Amon-Ra to almost always score a touchdown. Can always count on Gibbs to get in the end zone. Montgomery, if he's healthy. There's so much firepower on this offense. And their defense, I mean, they're pretty good too. I would consider them top 10 in the league. So I don't know if there's really anyone right now that can stop this team. I'm probably going to eat my words, and the Bears are just going to make me look really stupid after tomorrow. But I'm going to take the Lions on this one. I'm going to take the points. And, all the coaching changes that have been made in Chicago, I just can't trust them yet. Caleb is really losing his bid for Rookie of the Year, and it's kind of fallen to a different quarterback that we'll get to a little bit later. But there's nothing really eye-popping about this team. They went out. They signed all these weapons in the offseason. You got Keenan Allen. You got DeAndre Swift. You drafted Rome Odunze. You drafted Caleb Williams. You got DJ Moore, you had him from last year. There's so much potential on this team. They just haven't been able to unlock it yet. So give me the Lions, give me the points.
Yeah, so this is the first game of the Thanksgiving slate. It looks like it might not be a good one. The Lions coming off of a win where they shut down the Colts 24-6 last week. Goff had like 200-some yards. No touchdowns, though. Gibbs had 2 rushing, and Montgomery had 1. The Bears, on the other hand, lost another close one in overtime to the Vikings. It took a late touchdown and an onside kick at the buzzer just to get to overtime. So it's kind of deceiving how they got to overtime, but they got there. And then they lost again. It's another one where they lost to the Packers a few weeks ago, and then they lost that Hail Mary to the Commanders. They've lost 5 games in a row now, and they haven't won since they come back from London. The Bears, they don't have a running game. Caleb Williams threw for a bunch last week, but Swift and them, they haven't got going at all. They traded their best running back to the Bengals and Khalil Herbert, and they've really struggled since that trade. No, I'm just kidding. But I think the Lions are going to be too much. Like you said, they may be one of the best defenses, and that's even without their best defensive player who got hurt and was out for the season, and they're still out there playing like that. I think Aaron Glenn's going to get a head coaching job next year somewhere. Maybe he goes to New York. I don't know. But I think the way he's done the defense this year, he's going to get a job, and Ben Johnson probably is too, the offensive coordinator for the Lions. But give me the Lions in this one, and I think that they're going to cover that spread. I know it's 9.5. It's a lot. It's Thanksgiving, but, man, they've been beating teams down. Nobody's really played them close lately, especially bad teams haven't played them close, and this is a bad team they're going up against. So, yeah, give me the Lions.
And you brought up about Johnson and Glenn. If the Lions are going to win a championship, this is the year to do it. You have these 2 great coordinators. You have the scheme that they're able to run. You don't know what you're doing next year because, like you said, these 2 probably are not going to be with the team. So they're going just firing in all cylinders right now. Dan Campbell is a menace when it comes to going for it on 4th down. So why not? I mean, this is all aspects of this team is just phenomenal. Their running game's great. Their offensive line's great. Jared Goff is Jared Goff. Defense is great. Special teams is great. They're one of the only teams that it could be 3rd and 8 or 3rd and long. And if they run the ball, they're probably getting a 1st down.
Yeah, that's what they want to do, too. They want to run first, but then you've got Amon-Ra out there, and you've got Jameson Williams, and then you've got, Laporta. So if need be, they can do it either way, and they can beat you either way, too. And it's amazing to see right now that, they're that complete of a team, the most complete team in the NFL right now, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And speaking of complete teams, I don't know if you could put these 2 together and come up with a complete team. 4:30 on Fox. Tom Brady right now is going to be calling the game tomorrow, but he's at the Dallas Mavericks game. I saw him a while ago. The New York Giants travel to Arlington to face the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas is a 3.5-point favorite. Drew Lock versus Cooper Rush, the Thanksgiving matchup everybody was hoping for. Gage, what do you got?
The sad thing is after this game, one of these 2 quarterbacks are going to be eating the turkey leg, probably in the post-game interview. Unless it ends in a tie. That would be awesome. I don't think it's going to happen, though. Cooper Rush, last week, he didn't look bad. I know they still lost. Or no, they won. They beat Washington.
They won. Yep.
Talk about a crazy 4th quarter. But they did win it.
Yes.
And Drew Lock, we don't know what to expect from him. I like Drew Lock. He, in my opinion, should have been the guy after Daniel Jones was demoted all the way down to the scout squad. But it was Tommy DeVito.
Safety.
Yeah, safety scout squad. Say that 5 times fast. But how much work has Locke gotten with his guys? Whereas Cooper Rush, he's already got a couple weeks under his belt. I think the Cowboys' defense is better overall. I'm going to go with the Cowboys. I At this time, I'm probably just gonna be eating food and not have the TV on. But give me the Cowboys, give me the points in what will be probably the most viewed or the least viewed Thanksgiving game.
Yeah, which is, different than what you would think before a season started with. Both these teams had hopes. What do you say about this game? Drew Lock against Cooper Rush. Like I said, the matchup everybody was hoping for. The Giants have not been good, no matter who's starting. Whether it's Daniel Jones, Tommy DeVito, Drew Lock, they just haven't been good. Tampa Bay beat them down last week. I mean, they just beat them down absolutely. It was 23-0 at halftime, I think.
Something like that.
Like Malik Neighbors. Yeah, I think Malik Neighbors and maybe Wandale, neither one had a catch at the half. Now they ended up with like 6-5 or 5-4, something like that in the second half. But at that point, what else do you do? I mean, you're already down. Why not just keep throwing the ball around? The Cowboys, they had a big win last week against the Commanders. Was it Turpin that returned that kick against the Commanders? I think he had a 99-yard. Yeah, he had a 99-yard kick return.
He muffed it and then did a spin move and took it all the way.
Yeah. And then later, Washington was trying to onside kick. And then Thomas, I think it was, ran it back for a touchdown, which looked like they were hoping he would just slide down.
Yeah.
And he didn't. But, the Cowboys, they kind of won on special teams last week against the Commanders. The Giants just aren't good. I don't think it matters who's quarterbacking. Give me the Cowboys in this one, and I think that the Cowboys will cover. The Giants are just a dumpster fire right now, and like you said, one of them guys is going to be eating a turkey leg after the game on live TV, and that's just what America is waiting for. Bring America together. Well, so there's 2 Thanksgiving games right there. One good team out of the 4. We head to the nightcap. 8:20 on NBC, the Miami Dolphins travel to Green Bay to face the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay, a 3.5-point favorite at home. Gage, what are you thinking?
I didn't realize it was in Green Bay. That might change my pick a little bit. Because the whole way I was thinking Dolphins. I like what the Dolphins have done with Tua this year. Waddle went off last week. Achane is still there. They still got everybody. Jonnu Smith, probably the most underrated tight end right now. I know he's been in the league for a long time, but this year, probably, I don't know, top 5, maybe top 7. I can't really think of many other tight ends that are putting up, pretty decent numbers like he is. I mean, you got Trey McBride, Sam Laporta. Kelsey hasn't really put up the numbers you expect him to. Neither is Andrews. Likely has gone quiet. All these bigger name tight ends that you would expect to go off just have not. Kittle, he's been, off and on for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
But Jonnu's just been one of the most reliable pass catchers for him. And it's for big yardage. I don't. This is a hard one. I saw a thing earlier where Coach McDaniels, he was asked, how are you prepping your guys for the cold weather? And I don't know if he was joking or not, because you can never take this guy seriously. No. But he said he would carry around ice cubes in his pocket and throw it at the guys during practice. I could see him doing that just because he seems like that type of guy. He's like, you know what? Yeah. We're not going to run up our electricity bill and have the AC on. I'm going to have a gigantic bucket of ice cubes and just chuck it from very high up at you people. I think the Dolphins will still win. Give me the Dolphins in what you could call it my underdog pick of the week. I have a very bigger underdog pick for later. So give me the Dolphins. Give me the underdog to cover.
So, like, this matchup just a few weeks ago looked awful. Then Tua came back. And, well, now the Dolphins, they look decent again. But the wins that they have are teams against teams with losing records. But since he's been back, they still look totally different. Before, they couldn't do anything at all. And then since he's been back, they look like the old Dolphins a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The Packers, on the other hand, they got 8 wins. It doesn't really seem like it.
No.
They really don't seem like they've got 8 wins, but they do. Last week, they beat up a banged-up Brandon Allen-led 49ers team. Beat them down 38-10. I mean, big win. They almost lost to the Bears the week before. So I don't know. I think this will be a good game. And I was with you. I was going to go Miami on this one. This was going to be my upset pick of the week. And then I noticed that it was at Green Bay. And it's going to be like 28 degrees around kickoff. There's a chance of snow. Miami doesn't do real good in cold weather games. Was it Kansas City last year they went to, and it was like really cold, and they just couldn't do a whole lot?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the Packers in this one. But I think Miami will keep it close. I think that Miami covers at 3.5, and they lose by a field goal. But give me the Packers on Thanksgiving night to win. But if this was in Miami, I would probably go with Miami. I think the weather is going to play a part in it.
Yeah.
Maybe not the snow, but the cold. And, I don't think Ice Cubes is going to get anybody used to it. But, hey, McDaniel's an odd guy, a very odd guy.
Maybe by that he meant he's making all the players do the ice. Was it the ice bath plunge or polar plunge? Whatever
ice bucket challenge. Yeah, the polar plunge before practice. Yeah, why not? I would say let's just go on and fly up to Green Bay to get used to the weather instead of practicing in Miami, because that's not going to get you used to anything.
Just call the Packers, be like, hey, can we practice on your field for the week? We'll give you guys $1 million. Like, there we go.
That, or maybe some high school that's close to Green Bay, maybe they're out of school for the week. You're like, hey, we just want to get used to the elements. Can we use your field? And then there you go. Even
if they're not out of school of the week, I can almost bet no high school team would be like, no, sorry, not allowed. We're not going to have a football team come on our field to play.
You know how cool that would be for that high school too? Like you said, if they weren't out of school, they were in school, and you're out there and you're watching, you just look over and you just see Tua just throw a bomb to Tyreek Hill in practice.
Or you go in the weight room. You go in the weight room after school and Tyreek's just sitting there lifting away.
Yeah. That'd be awesome. I mean, I think that'd be a good idea for them to do that sometime. But they probably didn't. They're just throwing ice cubes in Miami. So the next matchup, and that's it for Thanksgiving, we head to Black Friday at 3:00. The Vegas Raiders travel to Kansas City to face the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are a 13-point favorite. Gage, the last time these two played on the holiday was Christmas last year, and the Raiders beat the Chiefs. You think there's any shot at it this time?
No. But the last time these two teams met up earlier in this season, I had talked about how the Raiders, oftentimes it seems like they have the Chiefs number, or at least know how to keep it close. Yeah, with that being said, I'm not going with the Raiders. I don't know who's starting at quarterback this week. I don't know if it's Minshew, O'Connell. I can't keep up with the Raider drama.
I think it's O'Connell. I think.
In that case, yeah, give me the Chiefs. Give me the points. If it was Minshew, I would have said Vegas would cover. But it's not. Give me the Chiefs. They're just going to lay the smackdown on the Raiders. Even though the Panthers game against the Chiefs last week is very, very good.
Yeah, so this is the Black Friday game, the only NFL game on, so it's a standalone game, which, okay. Like I said, the last time they played on a holiday, the Raiders beat the Chiefs. Chiefs are coming off of a close win at Carolina and a loss to Buffalo before that. They're kind of sliding a little bit towards this part of the year. They're, which I figured that was going to be the case a little bit. Do they slide enough to lose to the Raiders? They're without Minshew. It's O'Connell's turn. Raiders got 2 wins this year. I don't think they get a third here. Give me the Chiefs. Give me the Chiefs to cover. I think that they pound them. I'm with you on this. And, yeah, man, the Raiders are in bad shape too. They've got one player, I believe, on that team that's exciting, that's, exciting for the future, and that's Brock Bowers.
Yeah. Yeah, him and
I'll
Max
say that,
Crosby at least. but-
Max Crosby. Yeah. So we head on to Sunday now, and we start with the 1 o'clock games on Sunday. We got a few games here on Sunday that should be good.
Yeah.
And we'll start it off with the Indianapolis Colts traveling to New England to face the New England Patriots. The Colts are a 2.5-point favorite. Gage, what do you think about this wonderful matchup here?
So we talked a little bit before we started on what is called the Lions curse. And what that is teams are 1-11 this year after playing the Lions the week right after. And the Colts just played them last week and got absolutely demolished. I think that number is going to go to 1-12. Again, taking another underdog. I thought the Patriots would be favored in this one. Surprisingly, they're not. It's not my underdog pick of the week, but I am going to go with the underdog. Give me the Patriots. I think Drake May, this is one of his big breakout games. Give me the Patriots. Obviously, give me the points.
That's what I think about when I think about this matchup right here. Last week, the Patriots got blown out against Miami. Drake May had been playing pretty good, for a while, but last week, not so much. Colts, they got blown out against the Lions last week. So both teams coming off of blowouts. I don't really like either team here, but what kind of set me over the edge? That Lions curse right there. Patriots are at home. I like the Patriots to win this one. Give me the Patriots. I still don't think Anthony Richardson is that good. I still think that, they wasted a pick on him, picking him that high. But for this case right here, give me the 3rd overall pick in this last draft over the 4th overall pick in last year's draft. Give me Anthony Richardson. Give me Drake May. Let me calm down here. All right. The next 1 o'clock matchup, the LA Chargers, coming off of a loss to Baltimore, travel to Atlanta to face the Falcons. The Chargers are a 1.5-point favorite on the road. Gage, what are you thinking?
Before we get to this game, I would like to pull out my favorite segment of the show. Who died on Gage's fantasy team this past week?
Yes, this is my favorite segment as well.
I was riding so good. I made it through Thursday. No injuries. All right. Made it through Sunday. No injuries. Awesome. We're going to do it. And then J.K. Dobbins gets hurt, and God only knows how long he's going to be hurt for. Luckily, I have other running backs. I have Bijan. I have Kamara. Brian Robinson, but he's questionable, of course. Yeah. So that concludes this segment. JK, I hate you. You're doing good, but you screwed me. Thanks a lot. You got Gus.
I think that was the announcer's curse too, right?
Yeah.
Because they were talking about how he had been hurt all 4 years with the Ravens. The Ravens are back in town. He's been healthy all year, and then boom, he gone.
It's like, thanks, guys. Really, you really just – and to get hurt against your former team, like, man, come on. You couldn't go one more game and then get hurt. Like, God, okay, no wonder why Baltimore got rid of you. So instead, we're turning it over to the other Baltimore running back. Gus Edwards and Hassan Haskins are going to be splitting carries for the Chargers. The Chargers are a much better team this year than I thought they would be. Herbert's been playing, not all-star material, but he's not turning the ball over. He's not making mistakes. And that's something that is surprising me. The Falcons, they're in a bit of a rut, it seems like. They got Bijan, but every week it's like there's always one or two guys that aren't going. Like whether it's Kyle Pitts not able to get going, maybe it's Darnell Mooney, maybe it's Ray McLeod, maybe it's just Kirk Cousins it sucks this week. I think the Chargers overall are a better team. I'm going to take the Chargers to win this game. Give me the Chargers, give me the points, but I think it's going to be a sneaky good game.
So the Chargers last week, they fell in the Harbaugh Bowl, and it wasn't as close as the final score indicated. They were, it was 30-16. They score a touchdown to make it 30-23. They try for the onside, doesn't happen. The Justice Hill 51-yard touchdown rush was the dagger in that game because everything was looking pretty decent there. And then, the backup running back for the Ravens just bust one up right through the middle. And that was it. That was all for that game. The Falcons, on the other hand, they had a bye week last week. And before that, they got absolutely destroyed by Denver 38-6. Falcons, they've struggled this second half of the year. They looked decent in the first half, but the second half has been a struggle for them. I think the Chargers bounce back this week in this one, and they get the win on the road. Give me the Chargers. Give me the cover in this one. I think that they got it going right now, which, aside from that game there, but they're in a better shape than what Atlanta is right now, I believe.
Oh, absolutely.
And then the next matchup, we have the Geno Smith Bowl. The Seattle Seahawks travel to East Rutherford to face the New York Jets. Seattle, a 2-point favorite on the road. Gage, what you got?
I'm surprised it's only 2. I think the Seahawks, for the most part, have looked pretty good this year. You cannot say the same for the Jets. The Jets, they're not really in contention anymore for their division. Meanwhile, with the Seahawks, that division is so bad that it's so close. I want to say, I don't know off the top of my head. I'm not looking at it. But they may be the only division, though, where every team is above 500. I don't know if that's true. I feel like something is similar to that.
Niners and Rams are 5-6.
Okay, so then just scratch everything I just said. But still, Seahawks, Cardinals, even 49ers, Rams, this is anyone's division right now. It's not like one team is so far ahead than the other. It's not like our division where Cleveland's all the way down at the bottom and would need something miraculous to happen. I'm going to go with Seattle. They know they need to win this. Give me Seattle. Give me the points. And it's also Aaron Rodgers. He just has sucked this season.
So Seattle, they had a win last week over the Cardinals in a kind of an ugly game.
Yeah.
They're now tied with the Cardinals for first place in that West. They done enough the last few weeks to get to that point, with some wins there. Kobe Bryant last week for Seattle had a touchdown, pick 6. That secondary, I think, for Seattle is really good. A young secondary with him and the other one. Is it Witherspoon?
Yep.
Those two guys right there, I think, are really good corners of secondary. The Jets, man, what can you say about the Jets? It hasn't already been said. Questions about earlier in the week if Rodgers is going to start or not. He's out here getting everybody fired. He may eventually get himself fired from the team. They're just a mess. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick the Jets out here to give an upset. I think that they win this game at home. And, of course, I think they cover because they're the 2-point dogs at home. I think it's going to be weird, but I think they come out and I think they win. All the talk about them and how they're dead in the water and everything, I just think that they're going to come out and they're going to pull off an upset at home. That may be a crazy pick, but we'll see next week.
Yeah, wow. I mean, hey, you know what? You could come back on here next week and be like, yep, I was right. The Jets are back. Or you could be like, yep, I don't know why I did that. The Jets just suck.
Yeah. Either way, it's whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I've made worse picks on here before. So the next 1:00 matchup, the Houston Texans travel to Jacksonville to face the Jacksonville Jaguars. Houston, a 4-point favorite in this one. Gage, what are you thinking?
The Texans with CJ Stroud. Stroud has not looked good at all this year. He was in
Sophomore slump.
a sophomore Stroud slump. Ohio State quarterback, they just don't have a good reputation in the NFL either. Nico Collins got his first touchdown last week since coming back from injury. I'm surprised he didn't get hurt from it because he did take a big hit. So it would not have surprised me if I would have added him again to my fantasy dead list. But this is going to be my underdog sleeper pick of the week. I'm going to go with the Jaguars in this one. Give me the Jaguars. Obviously, being the underdog, they're going to cover. I think Brian Thomas Jr. has his biggest game of the season against this not very good defense.
So Trevor Lawrence is back.
Yep.
Yeah, and this seems like a boring AFC matchup. The Texans are coming off of a disappointing loss to Will Levis and the Titans last week, in which the Texans had a lead in the fourth quarter, and then they let the Titans get a 70-yard touchdown pass from Levis to the tight end.
Whatever his name is.
Yeah. Which was like, okay, that's not good. And Joe Mixon had his worst game of the season.
Yeah.
He had just, 20-some yards rushing and like 20-some receiving, but it was like a struggle to get to that point. I think he had like 14 carries for 20-some yards. Not his best game. The Jags, they're coming off of a bye. The last time they played, they got crushed by the Lions 52-6. I think this will be a close divisional game, but I've got Houston bouncing back here, and I think that they get the win over the Jags. But, I mean, Houston has a better record, but are either one of these teams really that good?
No, I don't think so. But I think this could also go back to that Lions curse thing. The last game, Jacksonville played was against Detroit. I forgot that Jacksonville was on a bye. I'm not changing my pick, but I'm going to go with the Jags, but I think the Texans win and continue the Lions curse.
The Lions teams that played the Lions in their last game may be 0-2 this week. That may continue the curse, both teams. The next 1 o'clock matchup, the Arizona Cardinals travel to Minneapolis to face the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota, a 3.5-point favorite here. Gage, what do you think?
Man, I don't know. I think this is going to be another one of those games that's like, you know what? This is going to be a good game to watch. The Vikings overall are not a bad team, but with Sam Darnold, you never know. And then the Cardinals, mentioned here a little bit ago, coming off a tough loss against Seattle. But, a couple bright spots. Trey McBride, 12 catches, 133 yards, both career highs in a single game. He is like the number one tight end in the league, in my opinion. I think you put him right up there with Kittle and Jonnu and stuff like that for production-wise. James Conner, one of, if not his best or worst games of the season, came last week, and it just wasn't good. He didn't look good. The entire team just looked flat. I don't know. Both of the defenses, I think Minnesota's defense is a little bit better. I think they're going to be able to kind of control Kyler. And maybe last week was a sign of Kyler playing Call of Duty a lot. Maybe. I don't know.
There it is.
I'm going to go with the Vikings, though. Give me the Vikings. Give me the points. But this is actually another game that I'm looking forward to watching the highlights of.
So the Vikings had a big lead in the fourth quarter last week and blew it and almost blew the game. But Sam Darnold let them down, game-winning drive to kick the field goal to beat the Bears in overtime. Like you said, you never know what you're going to get out of Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
Jordan Addison had a big game last week. 8 catches, 162 yards. Justin Jefferson only had 2 catches in the whole game.
Yeah.
And they still won. Imagine if they get him going. On the other hand, the Cardinals, in an ugly game altogether, you know, Kyler Murray, like you mentioned, is it Call of Duty time? I think maybe so. If they fall again this week, it's definitely he's been playing way too much Call of Duty. Give me the Vikings in this one. I'm rolling with the Vikings. I think that the Vikings will cover. Yeah. So give me the Vikings here. I think that if he loses this time, then we can definitely come back on here next week and be like, yep, it's Call of Duty. That's it. You had a good run, Cardinals fans. It is over. He's focused on that now, not the playbook. Yeah. And then we head to another 1 o'clock matchup. The Tennessee Titans traveling to Landover, Maryland to face the Washington Commanders. The Commanders, coming off of a loss last week, are a 5.5-point favorite. Gage, what are you thinking here?
You know, if we would have done this one, say, week 2, week 3, I think it would have been kind of flipped from what I'm about to say. Recently, Titans haven't looked bad, which is really crazy. Will Levis, ever since coming back after being benched, he's been decent, which is crazy to say. Washington, they lost to Pittsburgh, and everything has fallen apart for him, it seems. I don't really know. I mean, this is in Washington, so I think there's a big advantage there. I think Washington gets back on track this week. What was the spread for it?
5.5, Washington.
5.5. Okay. I will go that the Commanders win, but the Titans cover.
I'm with you here. Like you said, since Will Levis has come back, he has not made stupid mistakes after stupid mistakes like he did his first go-around this year before they replaced him with Mason Rudolph. Not bad. He's had a touchdown pass of 98 yards one week and then 70 this past week. So 2 straight weeks where he's had long touchdown passes. The Commanders, on the other hand, lose at home last week to the Cowboys. Austin Seibert, I can't remember how you say it. He used to play for Cleveland. He missed an extra point that would have tied the game up late. And then now he's on IR somehow, some way. It's kind of crazy how that works, huh? But I think that Washington is going to get back on track here. I think that they win this game. But I'm with you here. I think that Tennessee covers. I think they play competitive. Will Levis is going to throw another long touchdown pass in this one because Washington's defensive backs aren't that good either. They'll let somebody loose, and I could see that happening there too. But I think ultimately the Commanders win it, but the Titans cover.
Do we know?
And now,
well, I was going to say, do we know who is replacing Seibert?
No, I haven't heard.
I haven't either. That's why I didn't know if they went and signed anybody, or maybe they had one on the practice squad that they elevated. I don't. It looks like Zane Gonzalez. That's right. He did fill in a couple games earlier this season.
I'm pretty sure that's another former Cleveland kicker too, huh?
Yeah, it feels like they've had about 100 in the past 5 years, so possibly.
Yeah. Doesn't help them, but, whatever. Yeah. And then we go to the final 1 o'clock matchup of the week. The Pittsburgh Steelers travel to Cincinnati to face the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati is a 3-point favorite. Gage, what do you think about this matchup here?
So, I don't know. I'm really worried. If anyone watched the overreaction, I don't know where I put it. I had a round paper bag made that had a sad face on it. I have a lot of paper bags that don't have a face on it, but I don't know where the one went that I actually had. So shout out Target. I will send you one if the Cincy Bengals lose. Which I think they will. I think Cincy's going to lose. And I'll tell you why. Just because of the defense. Cincy's defense has not played well this season. Pittsburgh, they've been great for the most part on defense and on special teams. I think the offense of the Bengals is better than the Steelers, but just like Steelers Ravens, just like Baltimore Cincy, just like Pittsburgh Cleveland, it's all going to be a close game just because it's all that AFC North matchup. Now, the only thing you have to determine is it going to be really high scoring like Cincy Baltimore, or is it going to be really low scoring like Baltimore Pittsburgh? I don't know. I'm willing to bet it's going to be a low scoring game just because that's how it seems like for the most part it's going to go. Now, I am worried about having to defend Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. They're probably going to put Porter on Jamar and see how that goes. And then Dante Jackson or Beanie Bishop on T. Higgins. Someone's going to go off in this game because when one of them is on, the other one is not. And that's how it is. You're never going to have two shutdown corners anymore on a Steelers defense. Here's what I'm going to do. I think Pittsburgh will win. But for my pick, I'm going to go with Cincinnati. They're going to win. They're going to cover the spread. Just so this way, I have a win-win situation. If Pittsburgh wins, great. I get a win that way. If Cincy wins, great. I get a win this way. So give me Cincinnati. Give me the points. That hurts to say, but I know deep down in my heart, I'm going for Pittsburgh.
Oh, man. So this game right here, Steelers, they're coming off of the loss in that game in the snow that was crazy against the Browns. They had a shot to win it. Maybe should have won it. Weird game. Pittsburgh's been solid all year. Russ has been a better version of Russ than he has the past few years. The defense is the strong suit for Pittsburgh. They nothing pretty with them at all, but they get the job done every time. Cincy, they're coming off of a bye after that loss to the Chargers. They've had a lot of close losses this year against some of the best teams in the NFL. I think eventually they're going to pull out a win in a close game. I think eventually they will. You'd mentioned that the defense has been really bad for Cincinnati. They have even Cam Taylor-Britt got pulled last week, the Bengals' number one corner. He got pulled for a little bit. And they had Josh Newton, the rookie, come in. And he actually played pretty decent. Wasn't too bad. They was already down by a whole bunch at that point in time. But, they come in and, he took over that Cam Taylor-Britt spot. But the defense has still been bad. DJ Reader, when he went to the Lions, I think that hurt the Bengals' interior defense a little bit. And maybe that hurts the secondary and all that because, quarterback's got more time. Nobody's getting to him a whole lot. You still got Hendrickson, but with all that being said, every time I pick Pittsburgh, it seems like they lose a game. But I'm going to have to go with Cincinnati on this. I'm going to roll with the Bengals. 3-point spread, like you said, it's going to be an ugly game. I mean, it's going to be fun. It's not going to be fun. We're not going to have fun watching this game. No. We're going to be nervous about the whole time. There's nothing fun about AFC North matchups. It's ugly. It's beat you down, But, I don't know if it's going to be high scoring or not. I don't know. What's the over-under on tantrums by George Pickens in this game? 1.5?
I was going to say 3.5, but yeah, we can go 1.5.
3.5. Well, I'm taking the over on that. But, yeah, I'd say that's probably going to happen somewhere in this game. But, yeah, I'm going to roll with the Bengals here. Man.
I was really hoping you were going to take Pittsburgh. Just so this way I could say the same thing that Joey just said, and that it was nice to hear me say, give me Cincinnati. I was hoping to hear you say, give me Pittsburgh. I was Oh my God, hope it.
I'll tell you what, if the Bengals lose another game this year, week 18, when we do these picks, I will be like, yep, I'm taking Pittsburgh because, but yeah. Oh, man. The next matchup, it's 4 o'clock. We're in the 4 o'clock window here. The LA Rams travel to New Orleans to face the New Orleans Saints. The Rams are a 2.5-point favorite. Gage, what do you think here?
Man. I feel like I talked up the Rams offense last week before they went against Philly, and then they just went out and disappeared, basically. Their defense isn't top tier. While Cincy, I mean, they have a big playmaker. MVS, ever since signing with them, has taken over the Rashid Shaheed spot. They got Alvin Kamara. It's against Kyron Williams for the Rams. Oh, man. Derek Carr, Matt Stafford. I don't think Chris Olave's coming back yet, so I think that's a big part of this game. I'm going to go with the Rams just because of the offense, and I think it's better than the Saints. But, yeah, so give me the Rams, give me the points. But, again, I think it's going to be another good game.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's going to be a good game, too. The Saints, last week they had a bye. And the week before, like you said, MVS, ever since he's signed, he has been amazing. Derek Carr's new favorite toy out there.
Yeah.
The Rams, on the other hand, they've looked pretty good. The offense has been, clicking pretty good with Nakua and cutback. I mean, they're catching everything throwing to them. I mean, they're getting 12 targets a game apiece, seems like. Williams, he really didn't get a whole lot going last week. They got beat down last week to the Eagles, but I think that's more on their defense, and that Eagles team is really good right now. I mean, they're, kind of like where they was last year at the beginning of the season. They've kind of flipped that this year. They turned it on late instead of waiting until the end of the year. I like the Rams in this one. I like the Rams to cover. So, yeah, give me the Rams. The next 4 o'clock matchup, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers travel to Charlotte to face the Carolina Panthers. Tampa Bay is a 5.5-point favorite. Gage, what do you think about this one?
I wish I didn't use my underdog pick of the week. I wasn't thinking, or else I probably would go with the Panthers here. You know what? Panthers, Bryce Young played the best game of his career last week and still lost. And that was against a really good Chiefs team. He didn't make mistakes. And ever since coming off the bench to replace Andy Dalton after he suspiciously got in a car crash, Bryce Young's been balling. He's been doing really good. Jonathan Brooks made his debut last week. I don't think he did much, but it was still nice, coming off a torn ACL, being able to play in the NFL. I think I don't know. Do I really believe in the Bryce Young hype right now? I can't. They've just been so bad for so long, and it's just been awful. The Bucks, they steamrolled the Giants last week. Now, it's the Giants, so you can't really say much about it. But all the running backs looked good out of the receiving game. Sean Tucker was the one to score the first touchdown last week from like the 2. If you had Sean Tucker as an anytime touchdown scorer last week, congratulations. You made out huge on FanDuel or DraftKings or anywhere else. I think the Bucks are going to win this week. I think the Bucks win, but the Panthers cover. Give me the Buccaneers, but the Panthers to cover the points.
Yeah, so Brooks, he had 2 carries last week for 7 yards. The Panthers were led in receiving by David Moore.
Yeah.
You mentioned that Bryce Young, it's kind of the same thing with Will Levis. They start early in the year. They don't look good. They bring in the veteran. They sit the bench for a little while. Something happens to the veteran quarterback. They have to bring the guy back in, and they've looked better the second stint. Maybe riding the pine doesn't hurt anymore. Maybe it's, maybe it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Jatavian Sanders for the Panthers last week. I don't know if there's an injury update on that guy or not, but man, that was a nasty fall that he had, landing on his top of his head, and they had to cart him off.
I was surprised they showed the replay as many times as they did, because usually something with that, they don't show the replay.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything since about him, but it was not good look at all for that. Rookie, out of Texas, him and Brooks, they're both out of Texas, I believe. But the Bucks, on the other hand, like you said, they beat up a New York team. And Baker did the Tommy DeVito celebration when he ran one in. I'm pretty sure Rachaad White got a touchdown last week too, and Bucky Irvin. So, I mean, like you said, the whole backfield just getting involved. That being said, I'm taking an upset here. Of course, I ain't picking in Tampa Bay. I had to pick them last week because the Giants are horrible. I think the Panthers are better than that now. They've been playing pretty good lately. This is a divisional game. Give me the Panthers straight up at home to knock off Baker and the boys. Let's go.
Whoa. I mean, I should have seen it coming, but
yeah. I can't pick Tampa Bay more than like 3 times in a year.
Yeah, but it's Carolina.
It is Carolina. That's why I've got faith in them. Now we head to the 425 matchup, and this one should be a good one. The Philadelphia Eagles travel to Baltimore to face the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore is a 3-point favorite. Gage, I know you're hoping for both teams to lose in this one, but who you got?
This is going to be one of the only few times you hear me pull for the Eagles. Not because partially because I hate Baltimore. Sure. But I think Philly overall is just a better team right now. I mean, rushing wise, this is a matchup between 1A and 1B of the running backs. Saquon versus Henry. And I think Saquon's going to be the one to come out on top because, the amount of runs he has broken off this year, that, the big runs, 10, 15, 20 plus yarders, that offensive line, we all thought that after Jason Kelce retired, they would, just fall apart. The tush push would be no longer. Doesn't matter that they signed Saquon and all this stuff. But with Cam Jurgens in there, I know Kelce is possibly the GOAT of all centers of all time. But Jurgens has done a very good job of replacing him and getting that push and working with his other line mates to, open up those holes for Saquon. And offensive weapon-wise, A.J. Brown is going to be the top receiver in this game. Zay Flowers isn't better than him. Bateman's not better than him. Deontay Johnson's not better than him. I think the one missing part is going to be Devonta Smith. I don't know. Smith didn't play last week. Is he going to play this week? I'm trying to figure that out right now. I think he's questionable, but I don't know. He missed practice today, and so did Darius Slay. I think that might have an effect in the game, but I don't think too much. I'm going to go with Philly. Give me the Eagles. Give me the points. And let's just hope that, with a Baltimore loss, that Pittsburgh can pull out a win and get a game further ahead.
Yeah. I like where you're going at the beginning with the Baltimore loss. But Baltimore's defense has not been that good. Philly's really been coming on lately with the offense. You mentioned the tush push and how it hasn't been, people didn't think it was going to be successful, but it's been successful. Last week, they did something a little bit different with that tush push. Yeah. They were everybody piled up in the middle like they did, and Hurts just kind of goes over to the side and gains like 3 yards right there where nobody was at. And it's like, there's a nice little wrinkle. But Baltimore, they've kind of struggled this year on defense for sure. It's not the same Baltimore Ravens defense out there. They've been giving up a bunch of points to a lot of teams. It's kind of like with the Bengals. The defense isn't that good, but their offense is pretty good. I just think Philly's got it going on right now, man. I think that they've got momentum. Saquon, I don't think that the Ravens are going to be able to stop Saquon. And I think he's going to have another big game. And like you said, I don't think they don't have anybody that can guard A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
So I like Philly in this one as well. Give me Philly, and it's an upset apparently because Baltimore's favorite. But give me Philly as the road dogs here. And then we head to Sunday night. Let's not get to Monday night yet until we go to Sunday night. And the San Francisco 49ers travel to Buffalo to face the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are a 7-point favorite in this one. Gage, what are you thinking?
Cold weather, a mix between just the Niners have not done good. Is Brock Purdy playing this week? Is it Brandon Allen? Are they going to sign Daniel Jones off the Vikings practice squad and have him start this week? I don't know. I don't think it matters. I think the Bills, are right up there with the Lions for best team in the NFL right now. I would love to see those two teams play. But with that being said, I almost switched it up and went with the underdog. I'm not going to. Give me the Bills. Give me the points. I'm thinking this is going to be maybe 2 or 3 touchdown game.
Yeah, especially with all the injuries and stuff that San Francisco has. I mentioned last week that San Francisco is kind of like the NFC's version of the Bengals, but maybe even more banged up. The Bengals actually are somewhat healthy for the most part. The Bills, they're coming off of a bye, and they're coming off of that big win against the Chiefs, so they give them a whole week to celebrate and kind of ride that high a little bit. That way they're not coming out slow this week. Get them prepared. Like you said, it's going to be cold up in there. I just don't think that San Francisco, even if they were healthy right now, I don't think that they can go into Buffalo and beat Buffalo right now. Give me the Bills. I think the Bills cover too, especially if Brock Purdy's not playing and we're getting Brandon Allen again, like former Bengals third stringer coming into play. He's not going to get the job done. So give me the Bills in this one.
I completely forgot he used to be with Cincy. Wow.
Yeah, some things I can't forget, unfortunately. And unfortunately, that's one of them. He started a few games. Now we head to Monday night, and we got the Cleveland Browns traveling to Denver to face the Denver Broncos. Denver, a 5.5-point favorite. Gage, what are we thinking here?
Yeah, this might
be the road dogs.
No, well, maybe. No, this might be a hate pick. I'm going to go with the Broncos. Rookie of the year, I think, Bo Nix. I think he's just going to decimate the Cleveland defense. Again, it might be me just hating for no particular reason or anything like that. But Cortland Sutton, it seems like he's just scoring a touchdown whenever he feels like it. With Russell Wilson, he didn't do anything. And now he's got Bo Nix, and he's a top 12, 15 receiver in the league. Give me the Broncos, give me the points, and I hope that every starter except for Jameis Winston on the Cleveland offense just falls apart. Also, I'm glad that we're talking about this. I did forget somebody for my fantasy team death list, and that person would be Cedric Tillman. The guy had 2 catches against Pittsburgh, went in the blue tent, and got teleported away to some facility. I don't know what happened to him. But, yeah, he didn't help me. I ended up losing last week in the league that I have Tillman because I started him over Jonnu Smith. So, yeah, I'm going Broncos. That's the end of my death list. And I think that's also the end of my fantasy season. So
I'm still in first place, by the way, on mine. Anyways, so for Sunday night's game, the Denver Broncos, man, they've been playing good lately. And Bo Nix Bo Nix is rookie of the year right now. Mm-hmm. It was, everybody thought, well, coming in the season, Caleb Williams is probably going to be rookie of the year. And then they started playing games. And then it's like, all right, maybe Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels is the MVP. I mean, he's running away with it. And Bo Nix started out kind of slow. I mean, we had a nickname for him on this program here, and it was Bo Picks.
Yep.
But you can't say that anymore. He is now taking over. He's probably going to win Rookie of the Year. The Broncos have looked a whole lot better than they have. Cortland Sutton, like you said, I think he had like 7 catches last week, 100-some yards, touchdown. Looking really good. That defense, I mean, they give up 19 last week to the Raiders, but still, I mean, they've looked good overall for most of the year. Cleveland, on the other hand, they come off a big win last week at home in the snow. I think that was just because it was a rivalry game. They're going out to Denver this time. I think that Denver wins this game, and I think Denver covers here. Give me the Broncos and give me the cover.
Yeah.
And that is our picks for this week right here. Man, good slate of games coming, though.
I was going to say, this feels like one of the best slates of the year so far.
Oh, yeah, I agree. And we get it all started off tomorrow for Thanksgiving, and that's just great right there. 3 games, too. I mean, we don't get one Thursday night game. We get 3. And then they're like, hey, here's a Friday game. And then they're like, hey, here's some games on Sunday.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing missing is if there was one game on Saturday. Then we could just have a game every single night.
Yeah. Well, we'll get our Saturday games next a few weeks, I guess. But,
yeah,
you can watch the Pitt Panthers. I mean, they play Saturday.
You didn't have to bring that up. I mean, when you and Joey were doing picks a couple weeks ago, and it was Pitt and Virginia Tech, I said if Pitt loses, I'm never watching a game again this season. And Pitt lost. I have not turned on a game this season. You know what? The Clemson game was close. Louisville, I completely forgot the game was on. I was working and sleeping, and I'm glad I didn't turn it on because that was just awful. Against Boston College, you don't know what you're going to get. I'm still not watching. I would rather watch Penguins hockey right now, and they suck. So, you take and you give.
Hey, smart choice staying away from Pitt after, that game there because they haven't done anything. But, I really don't have much room to talk. So we'll just keep it at that there on the college football landscape. So I guess Daniel Jones, I didn't see it until Joey put it on here. The Vikings signed him to the practice squad. That's nice.
Yeah. They signed him to it earlier today. I think it was like early this afternoon maybe or something like that. But still, I mean, they signed him a couple $100,000, I think, for the rest of the season. But if another team needs a quarterback, they can just pluck him right off the practice squad. So I don't really understand the point of signing him to the practice squad if another team can just sign him. I don't know. Maybe I don't fully understand, but it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
He's going to be a Raider by the end of the year. You can mark it down. They're going to have him, and he's going to start. I could see it.
You know what? I'm surprised they didn't do it. I saw it was the Vikings and Baltimore were like the last 2 teams that really wanted to sign him. I'm like, Baltimore? They don't really have a quarterback problem right now. I guess if Lamar did get hurt, then they'd be kind of in trouble. But Lamar, he's not popping up on any injury reports. So unless something tragic happens during a game, he's going to start.
Yeah, that is kind of odd that they were the last 2 teams in the running. But I just feel like Aiden O'Connell's going to do something here, not looking good. Minshew, he's been hurt ever so often. He's just going to end up playing in a Raiders game by the end of the year.
And it may only be 1 because they may cut him right after.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, they may be like, man, this guy right here, we've got to give him an extension. He's looked better than any quarterback we've had this year.
We put up 2 touchdowns. Let's sign this guy to a 10-year contract.
Yeah, let's give him a multi-year deal and just let whoever else we have, let's let Brock Bowers walk.
Wouldn't surprise me. You know what? That's the Raider way right now.
It is. And that will do it for this week's episode, as we will get ready for Thanksgiving football. One of us next week is going to be happy on this podcast, and the other one is going to be sad. I don't know which one yet.
Unless it ends in a tie, in which case I don't know how we're going to feel.
We're both going to be sad at that point in time. It's like kissing your sister if you tie. You don't want it. Nobody wants that. So let's just hope one of them. I would rather lose, is all I've got to say, than tie.
Oh, well, in that case, well, then why not? Just go take a loss.
We're going for the win. Going for the dub on this one. Let's go. Hoo-day. And we'll see you all later.
Later.